Hey everybody, Sean here, Boosted Miata. This is going to be a quick follow-up video on this Dasaita Android head unit. This has that 10.2 inch widescreen on there that kind of floats off the head unit. I did a bench test review of this head unit about a month ago. Check it out. I'll link it here. Let's do a quick follow-up review now that I've had it installed and I've had some time with it. So come on, let's check it out. So I've had this installed for maybe 2 weeks, and it hasn't been without issues. I've had some problems with this head unit. Mainly, the big issue has been connectivity with Wi-Fi, connectivity with Bluetooth. But actually, this is a replacement unit because my first unit had some issues. One of them was it kept crashing when I opened Pandora, which was very strange. Also, when I was rotating the screen, I noticed when I turned it in a vertical portrait position, I noticed when I was wearing some sunglasses, there were some breaks in the actual screen behind the plastic cover. So it felt smooth, but you could actually see the breaks. And that was no good. So you can turn your head unit in portrait mode, but it doesn't support it. So it keeps it in landscape mode. Plus, one more thing. I did a firmware update trying to fix the crashing issues I was having on this thing. And the firmware update I did deleted everything I had installed on the head unit and all the work I had done to customize the launcher and all that stuff. And that really ticked me off, to be honest with you. So that was no good. And I was about to give up completely, but I decided, let me go ahead and get another one, give it another try. And that's what this one is, the second one. So before we get into the functionality of the head unit in my Boosted Miata, let me just show you a little bit how it sits in the car. You can see here how it's floating out. It protrudes out a little bit, maybe about, I don't know, what is that, a couple inches? Right there you can see, maybe comes out a couple inches. It's okay. I have access to the vents on top and the flasher there. Getting to the controls down below, I have to kind of go by feel because I kind of lose visibility on about half the dials down below. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I've got some rotation, maybe 20 degrees of tilt left and right, up and down, same thing. Now I can adjust this even higher if I think I could get it up just a little bit more. I'm kind of at the top of the adjuster here. I could certainly go down further. But I think I could bring it up a little bit more just to get more access to the heater controls and the ventilation controls down here. In terms of the stick, I do not hit it. I usually shift like this, and I'm not really having issues at all. Not hitting it at all. Now, I'm in the passenger seat at the moment. I'll switch over. So from the driver's side, this is what it looks like. You can see here the controls on the left side of the screen kind of get lost here. I kind of lose those controls, so it can be a little awkward controlling it there. But in terms of the angle, I usually will have it just about like that. And that works for me. So let me go ahead and turn this thing on. So it's doing a cold boot. After I have it set to auto control the booting. So I'm not sure how auto control works for booting up the head unit, whether it does a cold boot or a hot boot. But I imagine it has something to do with, one, how long it's been off, and two, it may have to do with the voltage that you can see right there. It may have to do with the voltage it's reading, and if it gets like under 12 volts, maybe it decides, okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn off this head unit. And then you have to do about a 20-second cold boot, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So this is an Ikano car launcher. This is something you can buy. I think it's 99 cents on the Google Play Store. I've had it installed on some of my other devices. You can see this head unit is very aggressive with the CarPlay. So it's connecting to my phone, which is sitting over there, and I'm using it with my GoPro, and it just interfered with my whole GoPro setup. Hopefully it's still recording, but you can see how aggressive it is doing the Apple CarPlay, which is great. I mean, if you like Apple CarPlay, this head unit works great for that, because it works it works very quickly and works cool. But the problem I have with Apple CarPlay is it replaces your car launcher, and I have other apps and things that you just can't use on here that I want to use. So Apple CarPlay is great, but it is not what I want to have. And I'll probably, in fact, what I'm going to do right now, so I'm going to go into my settings here. Let's go into settings. Oh, no, wrong settings. That's the phone settings. Hold on a second. Let's see. Where do I want to go? I want to go into my settings real quick. I want to turn off hotspot. And I want to go into my advanced settings. Oh, here it goes again. It'll just keep doing it. It's crazy. Let me go back into settings and turn it off. So we want to go into car, factory, enter the code, which is 126. Okay. And then we're going to go to other, and we're going to turn off CarPlay right here. No, don't want to use it. Apply. Okay, good. And then it should be done. Let me go to all my open apps and close the CarPlay interface, which is Z-Link. Oops. No, I don't want you. I guess it closed. I think it just closed. Let's see. Did it close? Yeah, it's gone. Cool. Okay. So CarPlay's turned off. I won't have that issue again. All right. I just adjusted my exposure on the camera a little bit so it wasn't washing out the head unit. I noticed it looked a little washed out, but I think it looks a little better here. So the Ikano Launcher's really nice. I like it a lot. It's not for everybody, but it works pretty good for me. I've used it on other head units in the past. I tried using the stock launcher that came with this head unit, but it was just coming up short. I really like this launcher. I think it's probably one of the better ones out there. It's very simple. It's kind of elegant. It actually isn't limited to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 buttons you see on the front in terms of shortcuts, because behind each one of these, you can add 4 more shortcuts. So each one of these buttons in actuality is like 5 buttons, right? So, 4 times 6. So, whatever that is, 24 buttons. So it's pretty nice. Each one of these contains shortcuts to applications that I need. So real quick, I just want to show you my car apps. I have Shadow Dash, Real Dash, MS Droid, which is my tuning software. And then this is my front camera, which I don't think is on at the moment. Let me fire it up. There it is. So that's my front camera. I have radio, which is my radio, Sirius XM. I have some video streaming apps in here as well. Navigation, I have my Waze, my Google, the built-in nav, and I don't know what that is. And then music, I have Amazon, I have my Power Amp, I have my Google Play Music, and I have my Spotify. Everything I need, it's all right there. Pretty cool. I like it a lot. So when I'm driving my car, generally, this will be in my dashboard mode. So for instance, I'll be using Real Dash here, usually when I'm driving. I'm just kind of monitoring everything. It's a supplemental dashboard, okay? But sometimes I'll be on this setting for the head unit, and you can then select for the center. For instance, you could select a music module, so it'll show what's playing. You can select your speed. You can select the clock. You can select compass, and you can select a navigation app with turn-by-turn directions showing up here. So it integrates in the Google Maps and some other apps you might have. So that's pretty handy. But like I said, I usually will be on one of my dashboards like that. And that's pretty much how the car is going to look when I'm driving. Just like that. Pretty cool. The screen is great. It works great. I like it. The only downside to the screen at the moment is it is a little loose. There's a little wobble here. You can see that. Does that affect it much? Not really. It stays pretty stable, although if I'm on some really rough road, I'll get a little wobble. But it's not terrible. I can live with that, and I could probably fix that with some kind of something in the back where it attaches to the ball joint. I can probably take up that slack with some kind of foam or something like that. So not terrible. But let's just talk about the pros and cons. So pros. Big screen, it's bright, looks good, it's elegant, it floats, it's got that modern kind of Tesla look. It's great. It might be, some might think it's a little much for this little car, but I don't know. I like it a lot. And like I said, for my old eyes, I think it's great having big icons and big text that I can see easily while I'm driving. There's no guesswork, right? I like that. It's quick. It's very fast. It's, it's got the latest and greatest chips in there, running Android 9. Very, very good. Very fast. I like that. So the two big, those are two big pros, but there are some cons, and there's a few of them. One of them is that this thing does not want to pair with Bluetooth devices other than your phone. I've tried pairing it with speakers. I've tried pairing it with an ODB Bluetooth. I tried pairing it with a media player. This thing here on my steering wheel. It won't pair with this. And I'm really frustrated by that. I find that a significant limitation of this head unit if it won't pair with devices that you want to use, especially like a media controller, because I can drive and control my media with my thumb like I could on my other head units, but I can't do it on this one. Super frustrating. Might be a deal breaker. I haven't made that decision yet. So I've contacted Dasaita over this, and they have one person there who handles all their support. Her name is Iris, and she just tells me, go into the settings, try a different Bluetooth module. There's like maybe 4 or 5 Bluetooth modules to choose from in there. I've tried that. Doesn't seem to do anything. She also said do the firmware updates. That might fix it. I've tried that. That hasn't helped. So not sure what to do about that. So that's a big drawback. The other issue, and it's connectivity related, is the Wi-Fi keeps dropping from my phone. So I'll connect to my phone's hotspot and it'll drop, and then it won't reconnect. And when I even go in to force connect it, it'll see my Wi-Fi network from my phone. I'll attempt to connect to it, and it won't connect. It'll just say saved. So that's a problem. And if I reboot the head unit, it will eventually reconnect to my phone. But if it loses connection while being used, it won't reconnect without rebooting, which again, kind of a big deal to me. Again, that may be a deal breaker. So that plus the Bluetooth issue, those are two big issues that are really frustrating me. Now, it's not a big deal if you're using CarPlay, if you use Apple CarPlay with this thing, because of course you're using the connectivity through your phone. So you're not necessarily using a Wi-Fi network. But the whole point of having a head unit like this is to have like a custom launcher like this and not have to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. This is what it should be. And to not have internet because it won't stay connected to my phone, that's a real issue. So I'm still researching that one. Hopefully that'll be resolved. There are some other issues with this thing. For instance, with some of my apps, certain apps require permissions, and you grant permissions, and you would think that the head unit would remember the permissions you granted, but it doesn't seem to remember it. Every time the program isn't used, it has to be re-granted permissions. So it's not remembering permissions for certain applications. And that's a problem because I use this application called Overlays. And you can see right here, accessibility required. It needs accessibility. And every time I enable it, Overlays, use, okay. Every time I enable it, when I exit the app and come back into it, it's forgotten it again. And it's really frustrating because I want to use that with some of my applications like my dashboard, because you see right here, this is the temperature from a weather widget. Now that should appear every time, but I have to manually go into my overlays app, re-enable the permissions, and then it'll appear on my dashboard app. And that is a weather widget, which is great, but I also want to do media controller widgets to allow me to control media tracks and so forth on my dashboards. So that's frustrating. Not sure why that's happening. I know there are solutions for it, but all the solutions for that require root control of the head unit, and that requires loading a custom ROM, and I'm just not willing to do that right now. It's a high risk situation. You can brick your head unit and then you're screwed. So I'm not sure I want to do that at the moment, but that's another big one. So there are some serious cons to this head unit. Not sure if I'm going to keep it. I've got a few more weeks before before my return window closes on Amazon where I bought it. I'm kind of pulling back from this a little bit. I know I was super excited during my bench testing review, but now that I've had it installed in the car and used it a little while, there are some definite negatives to this thing, and it's possible I may not be keeping it long term. But for now, there it is. Looks pretty cool. Anyway, guys, thanks for checking out the video. If you have any questions about this thing specifically, just ask in the comments below. I'm more than happy to help you out. And if you want to see some updates on this and some other head units I probably will be installing on this thing, why don't you subscribe and you'll get those videos when I post them. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.